We'll now go to item number 7. Request Absher Road be designated and maintained as a red road. Mr. Bill and Jan Toller. No, Jan is out because she had surgery, but Mr. Toller is here. You'd come to the podium, sir. Good evening, Mr. Toller. Thank you for being here. I know that this is, I believe, the second time officially on the agenda, and I'd like to thank you for all of the times that you've invited me to your home. I've been down your road several times. We do have in our packet the form that you submitted for road maintenance on the road, and we also have Martine here as well. And I believe that the road was bladed yesterday. Okay. So we'll begin with the work that you requested was for the blade to build up the road and clean the ditches. And how does the road look today?
It looks real good, except the ditches wasn't cleaned out on the north side, and that's where we get all of our water. That's where it covers a bunch of area out there. And if we don't have some ditches there, the road will be gone again the first big rain.
Okay.
But we definitely need the ditches cleaned out.
That be possible, Martine?
Yes, I did advise the blademan that I sent out there to meet with Mr. Toller there, and whatever he needed done to go ahead and do it at that time. So I'm not sure if just miscommunication or whatnot happened. But,
I went home and ate a sandwich.
Oh,
when I came back.
oh, okay. He was done, huh?
I didn't get to that. He was gone.
Well, that might have been the problem then, huh?
Well, I couldn't catch him. He had that brand new machine. He was gone.
Yeah, well, as soon as we get a chance, we will go ahead and finish that for you.
Okay, appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Martine and Mr. Toller. I do know that we want to consider changing the designation because as of right now, it's a red road. Could you explain? I'm sorry, it's a green road and want it to be maintained as a red road. So Martine, if you could come up and just explain the differences and how we came about designating it as such and what the implications would be if it were changed. Please.
Okay, well, as a green road, it's before my time. There are lots of roads in this county that are considered green roads. Those roads, they go through pastures, they go through barns, they go everywhere nowadays. But those roads are the ones that we can actually go in upon written request. We can blade them once or twice a year. You know, that's including snow removal. Red road is a county-maintained road that which we maintain, gravel if needed, and maintain as much as needed.
Okay, so the significant difference then is material and maintenance.
Yes, a green road, we cannot haul any material to it. We can only blade them. Like I said, blade them once, twice a year. We cannot purchase any culverts for it. That'd be up to the residents in that area, if they need a culvert or whatnot. But we can blade, like I said, we can blade them and build the road back, just like that. We cannot put any materials or anything like that on it.
Okay. Now, is this in a, these designations, are they currently in a policy, like a road department policy manual, or is this just a standing?
There's a definition of them, I guess, in the policy. I don't know once or twice. I need to look at it again. There is a definition of green road and
Okay. So there's a specific policy manual for the road department which defines green and red. Okay.
Did I just hear you say that it's, you can use your twice a year and that one can be used for snow removal?
you can use for snow removal or blading the road. But we've always helped out the residents. On that one, we've actually bladed, snow removal when they're that bad, we've removed them once or twice,
Okay. So, of course, this is in my district, and I'd like to thank you, Mr. Toller. I know that you've been working with me now almost 4 years on this road, and, you know, Martin has worked with us. You asked for a sign, and we got a sign put out there. We, you know, when you needed blading, we did our best to get the blade out there. So to your credit, I know that you have come to the table to be cooperative. I just think at this time, what Mr. Toller is asking for is to change the designation. And Mr. Toller, am I correct in saying that you have come with your own equipment to take care of the road?
Yeah.
Okay, could you explain a little bit of
I
that?
have a Jeep. I've been maintaining it since 2000, well, actually about 97 or somewhere in that neighborhood. But, yeah, Ted here, he's got a blade.
He has a Jeep with a blade on the front, so during wet weather, when there's deep ruts and things like that, he can get out there and do some minor polishing, but it's very minor that he can do with his Jeep and blade. So it's really important that we have periodic maintenance from the road department.
Okay, thank you. And I guess what I was thinking about is, at some point, no offense to Mr. Toller, there will be a point where you're not able to just go out there and do that work. And I know that you have brought that service to the table all of these years. I know you guys have lived out there a very long time. And so I guess what my thought is at some point there's not going to be somebody out there with that blade attached to their pickup to go out there, but there is still residents that live out there. So I certainly would support changing the designation from green to red, because it is already our road. I did lose mileage in my district in regards to how many miles were maintained in District 3. We have not taken up any other roads, but I am careful in saying it is already a county road, so it's not that we'd be taking on a road that wasn't already ours. We would just be able to maintain it 3 more times a year rather than just once or twice.
I have a question. How many residents actually reside on that road?
Well, there's a lot of property owners, and they have got a place up there. They're up there quite a bit. And we have traffic coming in and out all the time, and there's some people that's fixing to build a house up there now from North Carolina, isn't that right? But we have been there since, 1937, our family has, and me and my wife has owned it since 72. And,
So I understand that there's many property owners, but how many residents actually live and are on that road?
Just 2 at the present, right.
This is an issue, and we've discussed this before. At this point, for me anyway, we need to get our map finished of roads. Which ones are green, which ones are red. And then we need to sit down and maybe go over the last 5 years of miles that have been taken off and figure out what that is. And then we need to come up with an application of some sort so that, I think at this point, if we start saying, well, it's a county road and so we should just make it red, I think we're opening up a floodgate there too. Because then we're gonna have lots of other people in the county that it's a county road and it's green and so they want it red. I think we need to come up with our policy and our procedure of going from a green road to a red road, and then actually having the documentation of them coming in and filling out the form and having reasons. Like Lonnie's got a road right now, there's 70 families on that road. So, so how do you justify a road with 70 families and a road with 2? So you're not saying that, so at this point, I think we need to hold off until we get our ducks in a row of what we're gonna allow and the miles that have been taken off that we haven't replaced, and then figure out what's in the budget for the road department too, to find out that we can take on these roads and still be okay with their budget.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. We have 2 comments from the audience. We'll begin with Edwina and then we'll go to Michael.
Edwina Hewitt. I would like to point out that when our mountain was burning, that Absher Road on his side of the highway was blocked, and our fire people were up there using that road to get into the forest to put those fires out to save homes. And I remember what that road looked like during that time, and it was atrocious. And I drove down that road after the last meeting myself to see how bad it was. And I've got an S10 pickup that's got high clearance, and it's set like this, and the ruts in that road, are there because it's not engineered correctly. I agree with Mr. Toller, those ditches are atrocious, and if they aren't taken care of correctly, it's going to wash that road out again. So I saw that road utilized when that mountain was burning, and it's on the side of the highway that gives access into that forested area. If people can't get up that road, if our emergency guys can't get in there, then it's just going to burn past that. How many homes are you going to lose besides what's on that individual road? The roads on that side of the highway are very important for fire protection. So I just thought I'd point that out.
Michael?
I've been down that road too.
You need to identify yourself.
And I'm Michael Goody, and I've been down that road too. And, well, I went down it before they bladed it. And the low point was in the middle of the road, not on the ditches. I want to add that one of my concerns in this is there any logical way of prioritizing the roads? In other words, it's nice to get a map of all the roads and know where they all are, but there needs to be a way to prioritize to find out which roads in what order actually need the most work. And I get the suspicion that that doesn't always happen. And even if it does, it would be good, I think, in the minds of the taxpayers and the commission to have some kind of priority, logical priority of actually, what is the road that needs the most work, and then work down to one, that's in the best shape. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to clarify too in regards to the fires. When I went up there, I mean, the fire burned right there. I mean, you could see it from your porch, the burn scars on the mountain. So I am absolutely sure that road was used for fire protection. And
I have pictures.
At one point, that road gave access to Capia Peak, and so it was, a road that was used a lot more in the past. Now, if there's 2 residents on there now, there's Mr. Smith has property there. I have an email from Constance, who couldn't be here because she lives in another state, who's in the process of building a home. So it's not just 2 people that live there. And even if it was, I feel like those 2 people, deserve that service. They have been helping maintain the road. It's, they're just asking for 3 more times a year if possible. And I don't think that's too much to ask.
I agree. The roads can be utilized in different ways. Very good examples of being utilized when the fires were going, and whether the residents are there, or not, or in the future, if the property owners have the property. I would also like to, again, advise the commission that this commission can make any road a county road. We have that authority to do that. We have roads that have been taken off. This road is looking at maybe 3 more times a year to be bladed. And then in the future, when we're doing work towards that direction, then we can put the caliche where we need it. We can put the culverts where we need it to avoid these washouts. Because washouts without the proper drainage are the things that's going to undermine any type of road, whether it be a highway or a county road. And I agree that I believe, I've talked to Mr. Toller on the phone several times, and I've looked through the paperwork that Vanessa provided that was from Mr. Toller, and I would make the motion that we change Absher Road to a red road from green.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner.
Can I say something?
Yes. You have a comment on this one as well, Johnny? Okay, thank you.
I have no problem with it turning into a red road, that's fine. If the commission wants to do that, that's not a problem with me. I do have a question, because any road becoming a county-maintained road, there is an ordinance stating that the residents or whatnot on that road must first bring that road up to county specs.
It's a county-maintained road already.
Pollution on it, culverts where needed and whatnot, before becoming a county-maintained road.
But it is a county-maintained road,
No, it's not a county-maintained road.
but you've taken your
It's a-
equipment out
It's a
there.
green road. It's a difference. There's a difference.
No, it's not.
Does this commission have the power to overrule that ordinance?
The answer is yes, but
Okay.
but you have to go through a process to do that. But you could certainly, I mean, it's a slippery slope when you start, overriding an ordinance, but you can certainly, this commission has the power to revoke that ordinance, rescind that ordinance, and start over. I think that you probably would want to give some more consideration to doing that. But that, Martina is correct, that has been the requirement to make a road, what we call red roads in Torrance County. It's been an issue that we've dealt with for quite some time. I think what we could do this evening is express an intent to do that, and then let us take a look at just exactly the wording of that ordinance and see if the ordinance itself has a provision that allows you to, because I don't have it in front of me and I haven't looked at it in a while, but see if it has a provision that allows you to make exceptions specifically.
So could we approve tonight, on the contingency that, the ordinance, we can look at it?
You can move to approve this evening, subject to that being authorized by the existing ordinance. But you understand that if it's not, then you haven't done anything.
I'd like to
My
comment.
feeling would be the best, I mean, obviously this is something that you all can do what you want to do on, but my feeling would be that you table it for the next meeting, let us look at that ordinance specifically, and I hear what your wishes are, and let us determine the appropriate way to move forward with that.
Well, I think we should have some way that we can determine the safety, of the people that live on the road. You know, if I can understand Commissioner Tapia's concerned with there only being 2 residents on it, but then when we hear, you know, that during fire, you know, that it's utilized considerably, I think that the ordinance may need to have some type of byline in it that says because the commission said so.
And I like that because I think the commission should have some authority. I mean, that's why we're elected. Johnny, can you come to the podium? And then after that, we'll have Annette, and then George has a comment.
So I'm John Correa, the chief of the Torrance Fire Department, and since you guys started addressing fire, I just want to make a couple of comments. One being that you all know the rig we just got, and you know the roads it's going to take to get that rig around up in the mountains, and we have designated that, yeah, we're not going to be able to get it anywhere, but anywhere we can get those roads maintained like that will help us tremendously in terms of firefighting, because if we can get that tanker in there, it's going to help a bunch immediately to get that water to wherever we're going. And I understand that you guys have limits in terms of budgets and what you have for a budget for a road, but as far as from my standpoint, looking at from fire and trying to protect those people, anywhere we can get those roads improved is a big help to us, especially with that rig that we have now. And that's the only comment I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Correa. Edwina?
If you're going to table this, I would like to make a request, please. If you're putting county equipment on those roads once or twice a year in the public eye, that is being maintained, regardless of what your ordinance says. So given that parameter, when Ms. Tapia's person came in here asking to have that road adopted, and it was turned down. It was turned down because it wasn't an accepted road. So what is the difference between that road and any other road out here that a blade's touched? What is the difference? Frankly, I would very much be interested in having that clearly defined for everybody, myself, so that it's really understandable. And whatever that policy is, please post it on your website so we can all take a look at it, because it affects all of us. But I'm going to stand by what I said on those roads going into the mountain. Those roads are extremely important. I don't know, Vanessa lived through those fires, and I did, and so did the tollers. And when that mountain was on fire, it was like the sun coming up right behind your house, and there was nothing going to stop that other than our fire guys. And if they can't get on that hill, we've been lucky. Nobody's died yet, but the day's coming. So I don't know what y'all need to do to fix that part of it, but please, any of these roads that go into that mountain area, they need to be addressed for the safety. And that's one of the commission's primary roles, is the safety of the public. So just, if you could, I would greatly appreciate clarification on all of that, because that road that the person came through here and asked for Ms. Tapia's district, to me, it's not any different than Mr. Toller's road. It's not any different than the road that Mr. Freiberger has in his district. Every one of these roads, commission's ultimately going to be responsible for them somewhere. And y'all have been talking a lot about liability tonight. Say Mr. Toller's wife can't get out, and she's having a heart attack, and a county blade has touched that road for years, and she dies. Are they going to come back and sue you? Don't know, but they sure as heck could. Same thing with that road in Ms. Tapia's district. That family member of his died in his living room floor. All of this is very important, and I agree that there's got to be a sane and civil way to do it. And I would disagree that some ordinance that says, gee, we haven't declared it a county road. I don't think that you have to wait on that ordinance. You guys have the power to do this because you are elected. So whatever, take advice of counsel, which you should, but I would very much like that explained for me and everybody else so that we all have a clear understanding. So I would ask you to do that, please.
Thank you. Annette?
Remember that speech when the issue.
I agree.
When the issue of road taxes came up.
I already remember that, Dennis, very well.
Okay, because everybody in the county needs to understand.
Explain it to us.
That we have to live by.
Please explain it to us.
When the county doesn't approve taxes or bonds for roads, then you limit what the county can do. So everyone needs to understand.
Please explain it to us.
Okay, we have Annette who wants to make a comment, and then Martin, you can make your comment.
I'm not entirely sure, but I would also like to see, or have a little time. At some point, there was a moratorium put on accepting new roads, so it's not necessarily addressed to this one, but the next request. And I was just curious if that moratorium was ever lifted.
Okay, thank
And that was
you.
done by this commission, or not this commission, but a commission of it. So I was just curious about that.
Okay, thank you.
As Martin's walking, I want to make it clear, I don't have a problem with going from a green road to a red road, but we need to make sure that we have it spelled out so that when we do this and we say that we accept this, that we don't have 10 other people going, well, you accepted this one, so why not mine? So we need to clearly, with the ordinances, then go back and look at the ordinances and come back and go, look, if the ordinances need to be changed to where it's across the board, that no matter who comes, we have the documentation and it's clear, black and white, of what's expected for us to tell our constituents or with the constituents to go into the road department and say, I want my road turned into a red road. Okay, so here's the ordinance, here's what you need to do, and then we can work on it. That's all I'm saying, is we need to take a look at the ordinances. We need to make sure that we're covered through legal, that it doesn't matter, because then you have somebody who can turn around and sue us because, well, you did it for one, but you're not doing it for me. So we just need to be careful that we don't jump too far ahead of ourselves wanting to, take in roads without having that.
Okay, thank you. Martin?
Talking about, they will notify us and we will go into any residence in this county. We will go in front of an ambulance needed.
The snow will be removed.
And we'll go to your front door, so I just wanted to clarify that a little bit.
And I will back that up. Last year during the snow, we had several, but I do want to caution, because we had a resident that called that had to have a vehicle brought in, and I had spoke with Martine about that. If the fuel propane was under 5%, then let's get them in there. And when he got there, I believe it was a direct TV that needed to be hooked up. So those are things that we will not go into a private, to hook up direct TV. But I could get $10 off for each one I recommend.
Yes, Mr. Smith?
Ted Schmidt, Commission Manager. Just want to enlarge a little bit on what this lady said about the emergency. During the Trigo fire, the fire service moved their heavy equipment to the end of that road. They cut my fence, they moved the bulldozer into my property, and they cut a fire line through there. And as a result of that fire line being there and the equipment being able to access that, I only lost 2 acres to the Trigo fire rather than that fire moving on up the property. I mean, the wind was in that direction, but because of the efforts of the Forest Service in there to access through my fence, which they did correct later and come back and fix. But that road is very important for that access.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Well, this issue is never going to please anyone or everyone all at the same time. There's always, everybody has a different opinion. If you live down a good, nice road, it's easy to shake your head and say, well, I don't think the commission should be doing this, and I don't think the commission should be doing that. But if you've never lived on one of those roads and you've, like Mr. Tuller, given his whole life to living in that area, while he was well able, and his body was able, and he had the equipment, he did it on his own. But he's now at a point where who knows how much longer he's going to be able to do it. And I appreciate that you did that work, and I do want to switch it over. And I do want a sitting commission to have some sort of authority over their roads and over their district. Now, there's an extent, you don't have to, that was in my district last year when the guy called me, I'm disabled, I'm sick, I need propane. I was at the hospital, my dad was having a heart attack, and I called, I don't know, the manager, I called Martine, I called one of the commissioners, what can we do? Can we coordinate something? You can't control if someone's gonna lie to you and they're trying to get direct TV. I was so upset because I was fighting for that service. And then that's what they do, so then I look like a laughing stock and a joke. But there may be a time where there's an elderly person that needs help, and that's our job. We work for the people. We have the authority at this table to make this change if we so desire. People want to sue us. I mean, we always get lawsuits against us. I'm not proud of that, but again, you elect us for a reason. And if you don't like the decisions that we make, when we put our name on the ballot next time, then we're sorry, but you don't have to vote for us again. I would like to make a motion that this be changed from a green road to a red road. I'll second that motion. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Opposed?
Opposed. I feel that we need to wait.
Thank you, Commissioner. Let the record reflect that there are 2 in favor and 1 opposed.